We've been gone for quite a while here, mostly because of Daniel's fault.
No, it's okay. Give me an argument.
You live past Narnia. Like, you live so far away from me.
I was gonna say it's because you won't watch the movies I give you, but then I
yeah.
realized that you gave me movies that I didn't want to watch. There just hasn't been good films in theaters. Let's just face that.
Let's face that fact. We have a few that we're going to get to this week, and we also have a book next week that we're going to be talking about. But today, let's talk a little bit about the new film Noah, which sparked a little bit of controversy around the world. And if you don't know, this is the story of Noah from the Bible. So if you've heard about arks and floods and getting animals 2 by 2 to get onto that big boat, then this is the movie of that story. Now, this is made by Darren Aronofsky, the director of such films as like The Wrestler, Black Swan, Requiem for a Dream. So a very visually impactful director.
None of which I've seen. Again.
You're the worst, Daniel. Okay, but a very visual director and a very interesting director to tackle this as both, not because he's Jewish, which is what I was about to say, but mostly because he's an atheist, as far as I am aware of, unless I've been misreading his interviews here recently. This is what my quick thoughts are of the film, and again, this is a polarizing film in a lot of ways, and I was telling Daniel before we even began filming this video, is I really think it's going to come down to your worldview in this movie, because for me, I loved the first half of this film. I thought it was visually arresting. I liked this interaction between the stoic man of faith in Noah, played by Russell Crowe, and this kind of butting heads up against Tubal Khan, played by Wade Winstone, who is kind of this man who really believes in free will and believes himself to be above God. And then the building of the ark and all of that interesting imagery that's been thrown into there is just an intriguing story. And then the halfway point hits, and we're on the ark, and I think things go to pot a little bit in that regards, because then it kind of transfers into this story of being, let's show you how big of an asshole Noah can be. I've self-censored myself. This is a PG show, Daniel.
Okay. Is it?
I don't know. Well,
so far.
How does the internet work?
Yeah.
So, and I really felt that at the end of the day, I didn't understand why there was no retribution for what Noah was willing to do. Your thoughts?
Well, I think I'm really excited to see a director like Aronofsky tackle this subject, because Aronofsky is first and foremost an artist. And I think it's time that artists have got back to biblical subjects. It's been really cut and dry recently in terms of films about the Bible on there. So I was excited to see this, and I think we see a lot of great visual details, especially throughout the movie. Just the landscape, the post-flood landscape that's diluvian on there. You have this very imaginative recurring features, the passing of time and creation, the water, the actual midpoint where he describes creation on there, the details, even the clothing and that kind of thing. Just it worked quite well, I thought, on there. Although there were a lot of elements that I thought kind of brought the story down a little bit. The controversial rock ents type things, I wasn't a big fan of those.
I called them the ends of this Bible story.
Yeah,
but anyways,
Bible story on there. The film kind of lumbered a little bit on there, probably because we know what's happening. But it just felt a little bit cluggish at times. That's a word I just made up.
I like it, cluggish.
Cluggish is a good word. So, what did I think of the film? Well, I thought it raised some fantastic questions on there. Whether or not I agree with the way that it answers those questions, the questions about human evil as being in everybody, even the good characters on there, and then how do you reconcile grace, really, the fact that a family gets away, that Noah, in your case, actually is reconciled to his family. Where does that come in, and where does that come from? I didn't agree with the answers, but I thought that it tackled them with such head-on and such interesting ways that it's left me thinking for a while. And as you said, this is a film that may not be the best film out there, but it's going to spark some fascinating conversations.
Well, yeah, actually, and to put a very fine point on it, I think that is a movie that the conversations that spring from it are going to be more interesting than the movie actually is itself. Right. And like we were saying, there's a lot of stuff that you can bring to this film if you are familiar with the story or familiar with later Bible passages that reference this story, where it's the same issue that I have with like nerd movies, like Harry Potter, or sometimes even the Marvel films, which is you have a lot of stuff that's happening up on screen and a lot of, I guess, fan servicey things, which is because I know the text really well, I am bringing stuff already to this film, and I know where this leads to, and I know the retribution that happens later on,
Right.
and I know the gaps that they're not filling in. But if you don't have that knowledge, and as a film, I don't think it works, because you're not giving me all the information that I need to make an informed decision, or feel like I have been given all the information that I need.
Kyle just needs all the answers,
I
basically.
need all the answers, and I'm fine with anti-heroes. But the example that I gave, if you're talking just about storytelling itself, this would be akin to, spoiler alert coming up, if Walter White, in the very final episode of Breaking Bad, came to his wife Skyler and was like, totally screwed up, sorry about that. And she's like, you scamp. And then they all got together and there was a happy ending after that. You would feel kind of cheated. There was no retribution to the horribleness that you saw a character do and almost did.
Okay, so let's dive into that a little bit.
Okay.
You have this interesting question that Noah and Noah's wife kind of discuss.
Yes.
Right before they basically get on the ark.
And I do like that. It's literally everything before the ark door shuts that first time. It's like I was totally on board with. But yes.
But the question is basically, all these people that God's about to wipe out are evil. That's obvious from what they're doing.
Yeah.
And yet, for some reason, Noah and his family are able to make it on the ark. And Noah's wife basically says that's because we're good people. And Noah says, no, we're not good people. Wouldn't you kill or wouldn't you do all these bad things for the sake of your kids' lives on there? And she's kind of stuck with this question. So the question is all man is evil, but then how come, in Noah's mind, how come his family's getting away? And that's the real dilemma. He's going to kill his family because he thinks that they've done evil too on there.
And he's willing to go to the utter extremes of killing his own family.
Right.
Because in my mind, and what I took from the film, is that his faith tells him that that's the right thing to do.
Right.
And I just cannot get on board with that, because at the end of the day, whether it's because of faith or because of some deluded reasons, you're still doing something evil.
Right, and I guess that's one of the problems I had is in the Bible and the text itself, Noah really is told by God quite explicitly what's going on. Although I think I like the way that they had these kind of this uncertainty on there. It never got as far as, should I kill my family? That's just not going on in there.
Right.
But it's the outpouring of these questions. Russell Crowe does a great job showing that. His kind of descent into craziness, I thought, was very well done on his behalf.
Yeah, and if I'm going to call it any of the actors, I think Russell Crowe deserves the biggest props for his, I guess, portrayal of this role. I don't know if any of the other actors are able to actually raise to his level very much. And in fact, any of the other storylines or subplots, like, I mean, we have Ham, one of his sons, who honestly I felt like the entire movie was just him being a sullen teenager just really wanting to get laid. Like that was essentially his storyline in this film. Yeah. Which is too bad, because I think there's some dichotomy there. Again, if you go back to the original text, there's some interesting stuff that they could have played around with between him and his father.
So ultimately, at the end, you're disappointed that Noah gets away with it all on there. I guess what I kind of liked is the fact that, from my perspective, the film really raises these questions, but at the end gives a little window for grace. Noah is reconciled with his family. He is left in a very broken state, literally naked on the beach. After getting drunk on there. I thought they portrayed that quite well with there. And you have this grace, the sign of the rainbow, being shared at the very end with Noah and his family. What that grace means is a great post-movie discussion that we've been having ourselves on there. And I think that's what makes this movie, although it is flawed in many areas, worth seeing and worth discussing about.
Yeah, it's. I look forward to talking about it with you more. That's the words I wanted to say, Daniel. I agree. The one last thing I'll just say is I agree with that one point in the movie where they do go through like the history of creation. I thought that sequence was really well done, and it's a gorgeous thing. I wish I could just take that out of the movie and watch just that again, because it's that good. But again, I'm going to reiterate that I think that this movie breeds some great discussion, but I don't think the actual movie raises up to that level at any point.
All right. Well, what do you think? This is a controversial film. Please
Yeah.
don't yell at us.
Yes. Swear at us in the comments down below.
Yeah.
Do your worst,
Do
Internet.
your worst, Internet.
We also have a lot of social media links, which are popping up on the screen
That's right.
now.
In fact, we both wrote reviews for this.
Which will be
you
down.
have one, I have one. I encourage you to read them. And
they will
share
be
your
down
thoughts
in
there.
the description below, so you can read those. And yes, we'll see you again next time.
For another
Until
movie.
then, subscribe to us if you haven't done so
Stay out
already.
of water.
Yes.